Are you injured, or you just need an ambulance because of your? Are you cold? Both. How are you injured?
I think I have some broken bones.
Okay, what happened?
I fell off a cliff.
Okay, you fell off a cliff?
Yeah.
And where's Alex?
He's still in the woods.
Okay, was he okay?
No.
Is he hurt, or is he?
I believe he's dead.
You think he's dead?
Yes.
Well, did you both fall off the cliff?
Yes.
Okay, just stay on the phone with me. Do you remember what happened?
Okay. I don't remember.
Hi, I'm Kendall, this is Jolene, and you're watching Moto Appalachia Discovery. Today, we're going to be exploring Big Savage Mountain and the Savage River Forest in Maryland, specifically High Rock, where Maryland's strangest murder took place, maybe? In 2018, a young couple, Alex Stevens and Megan Shaffer, went off the cliff at High Rock. They survived the fall, but by morning, Alex was dead in the forest below, his throat slashed and a 7-inch blade lying near his head. And by the time authorities caught up with Megan, she said that they may find her prints on the knife. It sounds like an open and shut case at first, but consider another set of facts. By the time Megan Shaffer calls 911 from a house she stumbled upon, she's completely naked, as Alex was. She's got broken bones, she's hypothermic from wandering through the woods all night. And Alex's friends and family are contacting authorities, telling them he may have committed suicide. And when they get to the top of High Rock, they do find signs of a ritual. Alex has gathered all of his family's pets there at High Rock, except for his parents' dog, which is caged and left in a cemetery miles away. In 2018, I was co-producer of the investigative journalism podcast Appalachian Mysteria, and the second season of that show ended up being an 8-part series all about this case and the trial of Megan Shaffer, which took place after she was charged with both assisted suicide and homicide. We did our best to describe the beautiful landscape of Big Savage, but because it was an audio podcast, obviously we were limited. But as soon as I discovered the absolute joy of exploring Appalachia on the back of a motorcycle, I knew I wanted to show you this place that's so beautiful, but also where this terrible and strange thing happened. There's only one rule for Moto Appalachia: no highways, back roads only. So from here in Morgantown, West Virginia, we're gonna head east across the Maryland border, where we'll make a quick stop at the halfway point in Oakland, Maryland, the city where the trial of Megan Shaffer took place. From there, we'll head east to Big Savage Mountain. I'll take you to the top of High Rock so you can really get a sense of where this takes place. All along the way, I'll give you some clips from the podcast so you get a better sense of the story. I've also linked the first episode in the description if it's a story you really want to hear all the details about, 8 episodes worth. But for now, let's ride.
I just remember it was my birthday, and I remember thinking, wow, this is a significant event. It's pretty frequent that hikers go missing for a while, but this is the first time anybody has been found dead that I know of.
We got a missing couple in Savage River State Forest, possible suicide.
That night, it's dark, it's literally freezing. He describes the gates that lead to this path that's a mile that goes up this hill. He talks about spent candles, clothes, and a bag. The more you hear about what he found up there, the more bizarre it is.
She's stating that the other party, she believes may be deceased. She's telling us that they fell off of a cliff.
This has got to be it. I'm getting a little nervous with this wind. Starting to wonder if it would be easy to fall.
I mean, that's kind of a weird thing to say. Like, I came upon this car and there's a chemical all over it.
Well, yeah, sure, it's weird, but I mean, so far, what's not weird about this entire case?
7104. Go ahead. Aircraft has a visual on the subject. We're going to go down to him now.
There's no way in my brain he inflicted that kind of injury on himself.
But then you have to accept that she was willing to risk death and serious injury to kill this person when she could have probably just done it otherwise.
I've covered some sad stuff and some crazy stuff, but this, there's no one scenario that seems to make any sense. Every time you think you've come up with a reasonable formulation on how this all happened, none of it makes sense.
I just wondered if there's been any sign of my son or his girlfriend. I'm just very worried. I'm sorry. I understand.
How could she take a direct path in the dark after a fall with substantial injuries in freezing weather while naked? It took the state 8 months to even charge her with anything. Why did it take that long? Is it because they didn't have enough evidence?
This is the courthouse where the trial of Megan Shaffer took place. Look at those flags. I really don't know if the drone is going to fly today. A quick note here, if you find yourself stopping through Oakland on the way to Big Savage or anywhere else, and you happen to be someone who likes thrift and antique shopping with your meal, make sure to check out Englanders. Look at the size of this place. Thousands of items laid out in booths, meticulously arranged. Pretty much everything you could want other than clothes. And of course, at the back, you have the diner. I'm not going to show you my food or eating because I hate when people do that. It was good. And it wasn't until I left Oakland that the trip started to get a little complicated. This family had blocked off the road with their truck. When I asked what it was about, this gentleman told me that there was a pretty terrible accident up ahead. I decided to creep by him, but I only managed to make it about a quarter mile or so. That road coming off to the right is where I needed to turn, and that is right where a large truck didn't stop and crashed directly into the guardrail on the left. I'm not going to zoom the camera or anything, but it was a pretty bad scene, and people were definitely hurt. Fun fact about Backroad Appalachia, about 50% of the time you don't get phone signal, and therefore no Google Map functionality. Also, mountains don't have street grids. Even when there's multiple ways to get somewhere, none of them are direct. So I walked back to the family who'd blocked the road, and they were incredibly kind in helping me figure out the best way around the accident. Back on the road, it's the final leg of the trip to Big Savage.
We currently are looking for 2 individuals, and we believe that they're lost somewhere in around the Savage River Reservoir, right around the Savage River hiking trail.
This is emergency audio recorded by the Maryland Department of Natural Resources. The caller, who will become an important part of the story, was a friend of Alex named Stephen Moon. Stephen Moon was the first person who discovered the site where Alex and Megan spent their last night together. He and Alex had been best friends since middle school.
They also have animals with them. They have 2 ferrets and a Yorkie dog.
Okay, they have, wait a minute, 2 ferrets?
Ferrets? And he describes more and more, so the more you hear about what he found up there, the more bizarre it is.
To get to the rocky ledge where Alex and Megan headed that night, you have to park along a rural road, cross the street past a closed gate, then hike a mile-long trail up 550 feet in elevation. At this point in the story, we don't know how Stephen Moon knew to look for Alex and Megan at High Rock.
And it's not like it's a location where he just happened to be driving by and saw their cars. I mean, this is an extremely remote, in the middle of nowhere place.
We do know that he found their cars by the trailhead.
Megan's car has the key in it to the auxiliary position. The dash lights are on. I believe the radio was on. He says that Alex's car appears to have some sort of flammable liquid all over it. I think he just describes it as a chemical.
Stephen Moon hikes the mile through darkened forest to the High Rock Lookout. When he finally reaches the rocky outcropping at the end of the trail, Moon discovers a surreal scene. A small cage is sitting on the rocks. Inside of it, the black cat Alex had recently adopted from a shelter. There are burned candles nearby and a bag of clothing, which is also seemingly covered in some chemical.
But yet there's no sign of Alex or Megan.
In 1915, the predecessor to the Department of Natural Resources proposed a system of more than 30 fire towers to be set along high ridgelines throughout the state. The steel structures were erected to allow for communication about woodland fires that could destroy valuable forests and threaten lives. The High Rock Fire Tower was built in 1934. It was refurbished at some point, but it's been out of use for decades. As Sarah and I moved from the tower toward the edge of the cliff, we could see the decrepit remains of a housing structure right on the precipice, overlooking the valley. We later learned that this was a cabin where the tower observer could shelter. All that remains now are the crumbling ruins of the building's fireplace and foundation columns and steps that had been cut into the stone at our feet. Beyond that, the edge of the cliff. It was all rock, with two large, finger-like stone projections that jutted out into a fog so thick that we could see almost nothing beyond them. I walked near the edge, imagining Megan and Alex each standing on one of the outcroppings, holding hands and leaping. We creeped to the edge of the rocks and looked down below, at the point that Alex and Megan either fell or jumped from, and we were both surprised.
I wouldn't look at that and say, yeah, you're definitely gonna die.
Right.
I look at that and say, you're probably not going to be able to walk back up.
Which is precisely what happened. Teresa took a trip to High Rock not long after we did, and her takeaway was exactly the same.
High Rock is not the place you go to thoughtfully commit suicide. If you've put any research into, hey, I really want to kill myself, that's not the place you want to go. When you're up there and you look down on the rocks from the point that they apparently jumped or fell from, you look at it and you say, man, this is gonna hurt. I'm gonna break some bones. I'm gonna really mess myself up, but I'm probably not gonna die. It's not a thoughtful, good suicide plan.
But here's the thing, for the exact same reason it doesn't make sense to commit suicide there, it also doesn't make sense to commit homicide there.
Again, there are, in this area, it's, Western Maryland, Mountain Maryland. There are so very many other places. If she had calculated and planned to kill him, there are many better places where she could have done it successfully with a push from a high place.
I'm not giving any spoilers about this case here. If you just want to know the outcome, a web search will do that for you. For those who want to fully experience this story, I've linked the first episode in the description, or you can just go to your favorite podcast service and search the title of that season's first episode, A Significant Event. I will quickly show you this photo that was probably taken in 2019 when I climbed to the top of the fire tower. With that view, I could actually see the house where Megan ended up in the morning, which really gave me a sense of the entire area she'd been wandering through the night. Unfortunately, as you saw, the tower now has a fence surrounding it, so you won't be able to check that out. The only thing left to do was to hike the mile back down from the peak, load up Jolene, and head to the closest campsite to High Rock that I could find. There was still 20 to 30 minutes left of riding, not because the site was 20 miles away, but because, again, there are no direct paths in the mountains, especially when you have to go around terrain like the Savage River and the reservoir. Jolene is a baby adventure bike, which means she's capable of some light off-roading, and boy did I need it when I turned down this private coal company road as a shortcut. Big trucks full of raw materials are the only other vehicles that drive this road, and the state of the surface makes that clear. And look at the wind whipping the dust up there. As soon as I came around the first bend, I could see how this one area has been totally destroyed by the mining. But if that represents the ugliest type of landscape Appalachia has to offer, the Savage River represents some of the most beautiful. It's a 30-mile-long river that's a major tributary of the North Branch Potomac. People use the last 4 miles below the dam for whitewater rafting and canoe slalom, and I plan to get in on that next year. After a quick ride, I arrived at Big Run Campground, where I set up my bivvy, started a fire, got some water from a spring, then rinsed myself off in the beautiful reservoir. I've put links in the description to the first podcast episode of this story, the album we listened to along the way, and the Google Maps location of High Rock for you to check out for yourself. If you're not on 2 wheels, take the MSF safety course, buy yourself a bike, and discover the best way to explore Appalachia for yourself. It has brought joy into my life and dramatically improved my mental health. Take care and join me next time to discover Appalachia's Hare Krishna Palace of Gold.